Hey everybody, you're with Jack Flyer and Bulldog here. So in today's episode we're going to be jumping on the old scramblers and hanging out to the Coorong. But first off, you can probably notice we're both sporting new haircuts. I've got the Costa Zoo, well Bulldog over there, he's got the Mohawk Warrior. I'm loving the hair. So in today's episode, we're going to be covering a couple of interesting stories. Now, this first story is real life Wolf Creek. It's a story of horror, rape, abduction, ingenuity, and triumph. Now, we'll also be going to check out some derelict and abandoned Coorong shacks. And then finally, we're going to go check out and cover the story of the Ostrich riding bushranger. Now, that's a very interesting and bizarre story, and we'll also be chasing up his treasure to find out if it's still out there and up for grabs. So see you there. Where we're going to start our first story. So this story actually took place just up the road here. So what happened was, in 2017, a young Belgian backpacker had put an ad out on Gumtree, and a local farmer here answered that ad with the promise of some good work helping rear his livestock. So the young lady caught a bus down to Murray Bridge, where she was met by this individual. Now, from Murray Bridge to Meningie, it's a fairly simple drive down the highway, but rather he decided to take the back way, crossing two ferries, coming around the Narung and around Lake Albert here, into the back of his property, just to give the illusion that his property was actually out in the middle of nowhere. When in fact, as you're just about to see now, it's just up the road here. So we'll just move up to the property and I'll continue the story now.
Well, I don't know how to calm myself down. My breathing's restricted, my heart's pumping loudly, my body it shakes, but there's no escaping. Don't know why I stress.
We're just out here at this notorious property. There's actually two houses here. The property you see in front, the house is just behind the trees, and just over the hill was another house connected to the property. It's where the son and his girlfriend was living, and the main arsehole lived in this house. Now, what he actually did was, so he pulled into the back of his property, and there's a stinky, filthy old piggery out there. Now, he took this young Belgian backpacker to the piggery. Once he got there, he held her up with a gun, forced her in the piggery, forced her to undress completely naked, and then he chained her up in the piggery to a bed where he sexually assaulted her. And now he would just, basically that piggery is just over the hill to your left, just over the hill right behind there. It's only about 300-400 meters away from the property here, and he had her chained up there. Meanwhile, he'd go down, sexually assault her, go right around the back way back into his property, so his family didn't know what he was up to. He's just telling his family, oh, I'm going out to visit a friend. Meanwhile, this poor lady was chained, naked. He was also brainwashing her. Now, he actually told her that he was part of a sex trafficking ring, which included the local police here. So she became convinced that she couldn't get help. Now, one of the nights that she was left there, she actually managed to find a wool baling hook. She managed to get herself out the chains, but rather than run away, she didn't know where she was, and she fully believed she was out in the middle of nowhere and everyone was the enemy. So she used a bit of ingenuity. She managed to get her laptop and her Wi-Fi dongle and make a post on Facebook describing the vehicle, the man, describing the route she took, what she could hear, what she could see. And then she chained herself back up and awaited her fate and hoped that someone would rescue her. Now, the next day, there was police helicopters, aircraft flying over this area because a friend of hers recognised that she was in help, contacted authorities. They got a ping. As you can see, silly old bugger has a cell tower right above his house, which is where her phone and Wi-Fi was pinging. So they had a good idea of the area she was in. So she figured that these people were looking for her, but meanwhile, the filthy prick that had her captured, he'd gone into panic mode. So he had then gone out, hidden his ute under some trees, hoping that they'd settle down a bit. However, the following day, there was even more aircraft, more people out searching, and they were really honing in on this property. So he actually panicked big time. He went out to the piggery. He unchained her, ordered her to get dressed, put her back in his ute, drove her all the way back to Murray Bridge to a hotel where he dropped her off. As she stayed there, thinking that she's still in danger, other police, she didn't know what to do. Do I tell anyone? She was so traumatized, brainwashed, petrified. Eventually, starving, she decided to go find some food. And when she went out, a local Murray Bridge police officer recognised her straight away. And there concludes the story. She was obviously rescued. They came out here, arrested Gene, the filthy prick. He got an 18-year sentence where he'll serve at least 12.5 years. But when he's finished them 12.5 years, you can just about bank on it, this prick will be deported back to UK. We don't want him here. So that concludes our little horror story. So I think most of you have probably heard of the Salt Creek incident, but many of you hadn't heard of this, and it was closer to the Wolf Creek story than you'll get. Alright folks, take care out there, trust no one.
Gonna write me a brand new song, and I won't hold back. I'm not holding back tonight. Some say that they are my friend, but I hope you sleep well.
Hey guys, just down here at the Coorong, checking out a few shacks. As you can see, big old shack. I dare say it's been quite a while since I stayed here. You can actually camp here. You do have to contact and pay your little fee, because you have to pay a fee for everything. You scratch the glass or you pay for a fee. Oh, bees!
Yeah,
There's lots of them in there. Oh, it's not much rust in it. Jeez.
check the oil before we go. Oh, she's full of oil.
Well,
So go and hit the key.
creepy, look at it.
Yeah. Imagine on a nice night.
No thanks.
Hear the wind.
Yeah, I can imagine a nice night at home, cooked in bed.
Hear
Not
the
out.
wind whistling through the...
Oh, fuck. What was that?
I don't know,
There's something there, monsters are chasing me.
Shit out of it.
What was that, a pigeon or some cunt? Oh, fucking brrr. God, I'm gonna have nightmares now. Fuck me. Now if it knocks back, you'll get a fright. Well, I just did get a fright. Fucking hell.
Be pretty eerie here on a quiet night.
Stormy night, imagine it. Well, I'd say the pigeons are a good telltale sign no one's been in there for a while. Same as the bees. It's everywhere, the bees. Actually, I noticed on the map there's some shacks I've never been to, so we're going to head out there and check them out, so that'll be interesting.
Everyone, Bulldog here. We just stopped at one of my mate's little shacks. Used to spend a bit of time here, having a few refreshments and catching some fish. Nice peaceful little spot.
Catch and release, was it, or you ate them fuckers?
No, we ate some, cooked on the fire just there actually.
Did you get...
Nice mullet for breakfast.
That's what I was going to say. The question is, did you catch the famous fish?
Yep, Coorong mullet for breakfast. Absolutely bloody beautiful.
So this is your mate's shack, Bulldog. It's covered in a swarm of bees, so they're swarming right now.
Oh shit, I hope you don't.
You might have to let him know.
Let him know, yeah. No, we did some net fishing down here. And
So when you're a young fella, Bulldog?
yeah, a while back. Oh, a couple, you know. Still a young fella, so a couple of days ago. But
You watch them bees, mate, they're swarming.
yeah, we run a bit of a net. He's
Oh, there's a track down
got a
there.
legal net, so yeah, that was good. Out 2-3 o'clock in the morning, running the net, pulling the net. And,
Hey, you got a bee on you? Come up here, mate.
be gone with you, be gone.
You'll have to let him know.
Yeah, tell it be gone.
That's a big swarm. Another old shack there. So you got any good stories to tell us, Dwayne? Anything?
Something we caught one night and we thought it was a big bloody stingray, but I don't know what the hell it was. It was an odd looking thing. But
So you're out there in the middle of the night.
yeah, wandering around in bloody waders. Yeah.
Oh, you weren't in a boat either. Fuck, you're in the water. I'm not getting in the water. Fuck that. No way.
Pitch black dark, cold night, like winter sort of weather. And yeah, we're well up a bit further, wandering around out there. We run a net out here as well, but that's not so bad. But up there, way up where we were earlier, up that way, and running the net up there, wandering out, sort of.
And what was it you caught? You don't know.
Don't know what it was. Some ugly looking thing, but thought it was a stingray. Don't know.
That's why I don't go fishing or on the water.
Lucky we had the waders on to protect us, but
Fuck that.
didn't want to stand on the bloody thing.
Heard any strange noises out here?
Don't know. It's a pretty eerie sort of a place.
It is quite eerie now.
Over somewhere over there is this other shack that I was saying about that
Right across the.
my mate said about, and him and his mates tested it up a bit.
Really?
And yeah.
So what do you think, folks? Do you think Dwayne should drag his boat out here in good weather and we should go over there and try and find this old shack? What do you reckon? Just let us know in the comments. And while I've got you here, don't forget to like and subscribe, please, because that really helps us. Trust me, I've seen a few. We got more bees just in the corner there. Right next to your shoulder is a beehive.
So this little shack, yeah, it's just
Oh wow.
all abandoned.
Can
all
actually
apart.
check it out there.
Yeah.
Some baby birds, starlings.
You know, when you've got a beer in your hand and sitting around the campfire over there having a yarn, and you know all this place sitting there empty, you think, maybe, you know, do a bit of work on it, just sit up and somewhere to stay.
Yeah, no one's been in this for
It's a lot of
40, 50 years.
long, a lot of work.
I'll tell you what I would be concerned is asbestos.
Yeah, I know, that's the thing, that all that shit.
Yeah, look at it makes you look at the top there. I think it's actually just fibro, isn't
Looks
it? I
like-
don't know. I think. Oh
I
no,
reckon
it's
that,
board.
that shit's like masonite.
Yeah, it is. It's masonite.
So masonite's not so bad, but you know, you think the amount of effort involved.
Yeah, yeah.
You know how often you
Just to get the materials here, for one,
yeah,
let alone build it.
and to get down.
And they've got another shed or an outhouse or something there.
Yeah, I think we get. Oh, what's the worst can happen? Step on a piece of
Fuck.
snake comes in.
Yeah. Crikey. Oh Jesus, where are you taking me, Bulldog? Is that dueling banjos I heard? I'm not coming any further.
Yeah, this is asbestos.
What? Oh yeah. Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
Holy fuck, you're right. Look at that shit, guys, and I'm standing on it and I'm just going to move away.
Keep walking.
Keep walking.
We'll go around here too. There's another shack that
It's been sitting there a long time, that has too, yeah.
apparently people do come down to that one.
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't look like in a very long time, but
Little dog house.
apparently they do come down there.
Got your house there.
Yeah, yeah.
The doghouse at Dwayne's house is everywhere.
That's the right ball.
Oh shit! That gotcha?
Yeah, did it what?
Fucking hell.
Oh, look at that.
Oh my god, are you kidding me?
The poo pot.
Well, oh fucking B.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
So will they. The bees.
Bees.
Yeah.
It's another fucking shit cave, yeah? Turd cave down there.
Mm.
Oh, it's a cooker, right.
The garden shed now.
Well, someone's planted an actual tree here. Yeah, that's probably 6-year-old tree. Oh no, there wouldn't be that much water here. It's probably 20-year-old.
Yeah, probably. Wouldn't be bloody surprised. You know, it's a shame like this little shack here, you know, that
Yeah, it's just wasted now.
who had it?
It's been reclaimed by nature.
Someone had it, someone enjoyed it.
You've cut yourself, mate.
Yeah, I know. Bloody leaking red stuff. That'll teach me for cutting all my protection off. Well. Joys of adventures.
That's it. Oh look, there was once a staircase under there. Imagine the effort just in that alone.
Yeah, I don't know what the go is, but according to
The mansion,
my mate,
Munbury
people
Mansion.
still come and stay here, but doesn't
When?
look like very bloody often.
Well, like I said, people, I rode the meters out here for a long time, and the majority of these shacks and all that time, I never seen any movement.
Look at
None.
Look at the
Brain's got a flesh wound. Look at that. Brain's hanging out. But for the record, folks, Dwayne does actually hurt himself every video, so it had to be done. You were doing so well.
That's right, it's part of it.
This is amazing. No, I don't have a screen. So what would have they been? Humpies?
Yeah, I don't know. I think they were just like making stuff, keeping the art going.
Amazing.
And yeah, we're not doing any harm. No one has a problem with it.
Wow, these are truly amazing.
Wheelie,
A what?
wheelie,
Really?
like a humpy.
Yeah. They waterproof from leaves, I suppose, or lots of sticks. Wow, it's amazing. Oh, there's the door even. Mate, you could just sit here and meditate, couldn't you?
Oh yeah. Modernist though,
Yeah, I've seen
bit of
that.
wire.
Generally that would have been just some local, just grass here, yeah?
Yeah, twiny sort of.
Crunch, come on, break. Oh, I heard it creak.
Yeah, well, anyone that fat drinks it on it.
Hey, he's not happy.
So give me a fish, you prick.
He's a big fella.
Yeah.
He's well fed. How dog-like are they, aren't
Beautiful.
they? He don't like Bulldog's new haircut.
Oh, I can't be bothered, he says.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Do you blame him? Oh, there goes going for a walk out the end, because I ain't walking past that
I would, but
The gatekeeper.
I don't know what it is.
He don't like you. If you get attacked, man, I'm just going to film it. Oh. I told you he don't like you. I'm running. No, I won't. I'll film it. I'll film you get attacked, and then I'll go for help after. He's coming up to get ya.
Well, I was born in 1865, I have no doubt. And I was sent away and I was left to walk about. They told me I was useless and they said I was no good. And I am not a religious man, but I am not a crook. Sonny, won't you tell me what are you waiting for? Sonny, won't you tell me what are you fighting for?
Alright guys, we're going to cover our last story. Now this story is one that absolutely fascinates me. It's a story of the ostrich riding bushranger. I kid you not. So our story begins in 1864 in Ireland. It was there that John Peggotty was born. Now he was a premature baby and he was quite small. In fact, growing up, around the age of 7, he never seemed to grow. So he was always mistaken for a child. So being so small, his father often wondered what would ever become of him. And what did become of him? Well, in his late teens, John travelled to South Africa. Now it was in South Africa that he learnt to not only break in ostriches, but he learnt to ride them. Now not only did he learn to ride ostriches, but he also picked himself up a nice little trade while he was there. And now that trade was theft and burglary, which landed him a short stint in prison.
It was hidden in a death. Sonny, won't you tell me what are you waiting for?
Now not long after being released from prison, John then travelled over to Australia, and in particular Adelaide. Now it was in Adelaide where he organised himself a little gang and they went out on a burglary and theft spree. So from Adelaide, John then travelled down to the Coorong and Meningie area, and on his own he took up the ostrich riding. So he used his knowledge of breaking in ostriches. Now there were actually wild ostriches on the Coorong that had actually been released from local farms that had been farming them. So now he trained up this ostrich and he started riding it. Now he actually was a little bit eccentric. Now keeping in mind this fella's tiny, he's like the size of a 7-year-old boy. So basically from there begun his bushranging effort, and he'd ride his ostrich. Now he'd be half naked, so from the waist up he'd be naked. He'd be covered in jewels, so round his waist, around his neck, he had the bangles, the bracelets, rings. This guy was all blinged up. He had an obsession with wearing this stuff. In fact, he'd have over $1 million worth of jewellery on him and displayed. Now, he'd approach people, guns wielding, and demand their jewellery, and he'd make his escape. Now, this went on for quite some time, and he'd managed to have a couple of murders under his belt. And on one particular day, the actual local police managed to surprise him, and they confronted him, and he mounted his ostrich. Off he went, man. He was moving on that ostrich, so the police jumped on their horses and they give chase. Now this fella wasn't silly. He chose the ostrich for a reason, because the ostrich, they actually excel in the Coorong because it's vast sand dunes, hills, thick sand. Now the ostrich, it had no trouble running through the sand, running up the hills, where the horses, they found her in the sand, so their progress was slow, especially when they got to the hills. This ostrich was gone, he was out of here, and he made his escape. So it wasn't till September 17, 1899 that John finally met his match. It was a local fisherman, Henry Carmichael. Now he was on horseback over at the Coorong when John approached him on the ostrich, guns blaring. Now Henry looks at this tiny little man. In fact, Henry first thought, is this a child? Until he noticed a full beard on the small person. So the fisherman, under duress, handed over what jewellery and money he had to John, and John fired 2 rounds at poor Henry and then started to flee. However, the fisherman Henry, now he had a high-powered rifle on him, and not only that, he was a crack shot. So Henry started to give chase on his horses, but due to the ostrich speed, and the ostrich and John were getting away, he pulled out his high-powered rifle, took aim, and he let off several shots. Now 2 of those shots hit John directly, and another couple hit the ostrich, and he just seen them go over the top of a hill and disappear. So Henry continued cautiously up the hill, mounting over the top of the hill, of course expecting to see the dead John and the ostrich. As he got over the hill, what he found was just the dead ostrich. The ostrich was deceased, a broken gold chain, and a thick blood trail. So he followed the blood trail very cautiously, and that blood trail led off into the scrub. Now Henry thought to himself, I'm not going to enter this scrub, because he knew John was still armed. So he decides he'll leave John. John's heavily wounded, bleeding heavily. He suspects John's just going to die there. So Henry went to tell the authorities and claim the bounty, because there was actually a bounty on his head at this stage. Now here's where it really gets interesting. So the authorities, including some locals, all went out there to locate the body of John. And they didn't find him. So to this day, in fact, no one has found John. And more to the point, no one has found the over $1 million worth of gold and jewellery that John had on him. Now there's a few theories. Of course, the official record states that in all probability he most likely died out there in the sand dunes, and deep down in the sand somewhere is over $1 million worth of treasure. Now some of the other theories are, the obvious one, that he didn't die. He went off to live his life happily and spent his riches. But I don't think that's the case. Now, most likely, he did probably die out there in the scrub somewhere. And someone one day may find that treasure. However, there's a small other theory that he could have also wandered off into either the Coorong or the ocean there and washed away. And then golden jewellery may never be found. Either way, it's a very interesting story, and yeah, I hope someone goes out looking for that treasure one day. Alright guys, that's it for our episode this week, so take care.